away with so much.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap at you either. Let me hit a pause real quick because I forgot to plug my computer in. So I'm just going to leave a gap. Hold that thought. I love you. I didn't mean to snap at you.
Oh, okay. That's the gig now. This was snapping. I didn't know these bitches were snapping.
Oh, is it me? Okay. Welcome to Scream Queen, a podcast about scary movies.
From people not typically depicted in scary movies. How you doing, Drea? What's going on? What's happening? How's life? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Paint me a picture. I want to know.
Okay. That was a lot. I'm trying not to lose my mind. That's, so I'm staying on an even kill. Just baby steps. That's where I'm at right now. So how about you? How are you feeling?
Okay, so I've been watching a lot of Better Things, right? And it's not necessarily a horror movie, but those older daughters are terror.
Lord.
Straight up terrors. And what sucks about it is that as a child, I was Frankie. I was smart and I was exacting and I was cruel. But as an adult, somebody who's identifying more with Pamela Adlon, I would just be giving Frankie that corporal punishment. Like that child I don't know where she gets off being so disrespectful to her mom.
It's too fucking liberal up in that house. That's the issue. It's way too motherfucking liberal.
It just sucks to be an adult and realize that as a child I was Frankie. Like I was that little terror. I was mean and I was blunt and I said too much. There was too much tea coming out of my mouth. But then as an adult, somebody who identifies more with Pamela Adlon, there just needs to be some corporal punishment in that house. You know what I mean? Like, where does Frankie get off being so disrespectful to her mom?
The oldest one too. I mean, having sex in the house, like it's a lot. It's not even a lot. It's in a black house. That is all fantasy. That it would never fucking happen. I watched that through the eyes of like a black mama, and my mama was not that corporal, punisher. But there's just certain shit you don't do, and like I would never cross that line. Like never cross that line.
I mean, some of it was like, okay, teenage rebellion whatsoever, but like when it's straight up cruel, it would have hurt my feelings to say some of those things about my mom. When they're at the bar mitzvah and Frankie's like, well, you're getting older, you're actually old, you're too old to act, do you have a plan for yourself? Do you have
push it? I straight up, I have fits. Well, I forgot about how much stress that show gives me, but it's always something beautiful happens at the end, and I'm like, how did you do that to me? Like I was ready to kill this kid. Like I wanted to reach to the screen, strangle them, and now I'm like, you've just shown me a whole new perspective on things. And when you brought up like, oh, you realize you're kind of like Frankie, like in that moment I'm like, oh shit, I'm kind of like Frankie. But I'm also kind of like the baby angel one too, because I'm I'm like low key, super low key, and people don't like pay attention always. They don't realize like you in the back watching shit. So yes, and I did call myself a baby angel because I'm a baby angel.
Well, I mean, like there are just absolutely mind-numbing frustrations, and then there's like that episode where they have like the funeral for her, where all of the kids are just like, this is the reason why I'm like this. One of them is like, I've never seen what it is that you do because I don't want to have to share you. I loved it when it was just you and me. And I resent the fact that other people get access to you in a way that I don't. And I was just like, okay, you know what? You needed to lead with that. So I didn't feel like I had to go off on you motherfucking ass.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what they're trying to do is like, because, when you look into somebody's world, you're only getting one perspective of it. And so they're showing us, well, really what's all behind all of that. And there's real genuine love, but that it could be misconstrued real easily, like at first glance. It'd be very misconstrued. Like what the, like, you're a disrespectful little cunt.
But when she said that to her too, I was like, I mean, if the shoe fits.
Oh, did she say that at the show? Yeah. Oh, okay. See, I mean, yeah, like and the fact that Pamela, her character is so strong, you know, and I've always kind of, you know, seen her in that way. Like she's just, you know, she's a tough chick. It's interesting to see as she like protects her children from their fathers and how stupid their fathers are, and she doesn't ever want them to really know the bullshit she has to deal with, and then she has to deal with grief from them. And I've seen this story played out before many a time, but the way they do it in this is like, it goes on for years throughout the show, you know, and they keep trying to give these dudes, you know, a chance, and they're just, is it more than one dad, or do they have all the same dad? I think they all have the same dad.
I think they do, but they don't ever say our dad. They always say my dad, which is why I was confused as well as to how many daddies away. And also just like, you know, on an Indian reservation, like you might have a lot of different daddies. So that's how I understood it. I was like, oh yeah, y'all have different daddies. Yeah.
Takes a community. Yeah. But yeah, that show is stressful as fuck. It's like, really, some people think Curb Your Enthusiasm is stressful, blah, blah, blah. No, this show is stressful, but it is wonderful, and I think the payoff is worth it.
And it also just, I would like to, you know, remind the audience that Pamela Adlon was one of our Scream Queens for the Gate 2, and she even commented on our Instagram.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
I remember when I read it, I was like, what is toy? But she was going, too, like the thing that she does where she spits on her fingers. I was like, oh, duh, tooey.
That shit was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, I'm trying to think, what have I been watching? And just movie news and stuff, like Nia DaCosta, who is going to be directing the upcoming Candyman, she got tapped to direct the Captain Marvel 2, which is fucking awesome.
Oh shit. Also my Cavity Colors Candyman pin, speaking of Candyman, is on its way in transit. So the next time you see me, I will be wearing it.
Oh, I love.
Yeah, I got that.
You might get it in the green packaging too. It comes in like a lime green packaging. It says Cavity Colors on. I save all of them because it's nice packaging. I'll re-gift that shit. I don't care.
Ooh, and also in movie news, it turns out that the New Mutants is in fact coming out August 28th, which is like,
it's coming out. Yeah,
very movie version of a superhero film. At least that's how they're pitching it to us. So
yeah, it's playing up at the drive-in down the street from my parents' house, so I might have a chance to see it before I get out of here. We'll see.
I want to see it.
I'm not like, huh?
I want to see it. I've been looking forward to it forever.
I know you have.
I loved the New Mutants comic, like it was in the 80s.
I wasn't familiar with it. So you have a whole attachment to it. I got you.
And one of the main characters is Native.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get it. I got you. I feel you. Damn.
All right, Danny Moonstar.
Oh, also not great news, but not great news at all. But maybe it will get picked up somewhere else. But that show, I'm Not Okay With This, remember that on Netflix? Yeah. It got canceled after one season. And it had so much potential. I really wanted to see what the fuck happened after she exploded Homeboy's head. So, what the hell?
No! I mean, well, we know she ends up,
I wanted to see her friend get together.
That's what I'm saying. In my mind, that's what happens next. Like, the next season is all about their love. And it's like a completely different type of show. But who knows?
So that's what happened. But... other than that, I think after this I'm watching the finale of I May Destroy You. Holy shit.
Oh my god. TV's not supposed to be this good. TV's not supposed to be this good.
It's not. Wow. I'm blown away. So
should we talk about what we're getting into today?
Yes, let's do it.
Right.
Please describe.
The first film that we're going to be talking about is Host, the new horror film from Shudder that takes place completely on Zoom, and it is both found footage and like haunting type horror movie. And I don't know, have we covered a found footage horror movie on the show before? I can't remember.
No, because most of them are trash. So
yeah, most of them. But this one is
not trash.
Of course, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Lovecraft Country, which, as of the day we're recording, was yesterday. I've had the chance to see it a couple of times, read a couple of think pieces, so I'm excited to get into it. And our Scream Queen of the Week, we're going to do a double dip, just like we did with Lupita. This time, we're going to do J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez in The Cell. which I rewatched recently and holds up.
It's fucked up. That movie is I just rewatched it this afternoon, and even in broad daylight, that shit was fucked up.
That shit was fucked up.
So anyway.
But also, I'm still, sometimes when I close my eyes, I can't tell the difference between Vince Vaughn and Vincent D'Onofrio. So.
Wow, that's racist. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so Act 1, we're talking about Host. It's new on Shudder. This movie was not supposed to be as good as it is. Like, the whole premise, I thought it sounded hella redundant. I was like, how are you gonna make this any interesting? You know, I watched it in the backyard on my laptop, which actually was quite fitting for the type of film it is. And it wasn't on purpose. I was just, I'm comfortable where I'm at. Let me watch it here. I loved this movie. And then it was over. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I realized this movie is 56 minutes long. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so who said a movie has to be like a standard hour and a half or whatever, you know? Like this, if it had that extra in it, it might have been too much.
It definitely would have been too much. I can't take that much Zoom. You know what I mean? No. Like, so the premise is like, it's like 6 friends who get on a Zoom call. Instead of doing their regular like trivia night or whatever, the regular game night, instead they decide to have a medium come in and do a seance. And like Drea said, it's just the premise is so trodden. It has been done.
I just hear anything filmed on a computer and I'm like, that I'm not gonna be, how are you gonna keep me engaged? You know, like, I don't give a shit about what you're looking at on your screen. And it's a beautiful combination of, because they take you, they use some outdoor shots, you know, like she leaves from her laptop to let her friend into the apartment or whatever, or some, you know, like little things like that. You're taken outside to certain exteriors, but you're always right there looking through their screens, mm-hmm. You know?
Which is like unfortunately so relatable. Yeah, and I think you're right.
It was actually too relatable.
It's like watching it on your laptop is perfect. Watching it on any device that is your medium of communication in this pandemic quarantine uprising situation, I think it's perfect because it's like,
we live on Zoom.
For a second, we're doing this on Zoom. Like for a second when it started, I was like, am I on a call? Am I accidentally on a call? You know,
all of it. It was the fact that they made this so quick. They did this during the quarantine, like during this, like I'm talking about the quarantine as though it's over. Like we should all still be,
you know, you should be keeping your distance. But it was 12 weeks from conception to release on Shudder. 12 weeks. That's like an insanely short period of time. And I agree with you, Drea. 56 minutes was exactly the right length for it. I also liked, there was like that thing flashed up that was like, your time is running out on Zoom. And I was like, oh, this is too...
I love that. You because also, yeah, the bitch can't afford a premium account. No, that was the best. When you knew, it didn't take away from the suspense. Even though they're counting down, oh, something's going to happen in 30 seconds. As soon as that 30 seconds gets counted down, it's fun. That ending was fun. It was a jump scare, and that jump scare was very much appropriate for this film.
Guess which bitch jumped?
Oh, really?
You know, one thing that I thought was kind of magic about this is that I have been at loath to ingest any culture that reminds me of what's going on. Yeah. Like that Parks and Rec episode that was supposed to take place like on a Zoom call type thing. I turned it on and I was like, I can't watch this. Like I started to get an anxiety attack. Like I'm not trying to watch The Real. I'm not trying to watch The View. I mean, not that I watch those anyway, but like, or like, you know, these like Jimmy Fallon, Kelly Clarkson, all these shows where it's like, there's all taking place like this on screens. I'm like, I want to escape. I don't want to be about this time. I just want this to be a blip in the historical radar. And then hopefully a year from now or whenever it is, we can get on with our lives. So when you chose this, I was like a little bit apprehensive because I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to get through it.
I actually thought of all those things. Like I didn't think, you know, I'm not sure, you know, what you'll be sensitive to, you know, and everybody has their things that trigger them in horror films, especially right now. So I even, having watched it, I was like, do we want to put this on ourselves and on the people, you know, because it is triggering.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's really well done. And what I've gotten from this time, there's certain people I've seen who have grown, and their platform through Zoom and whatnot have gotten even more creative. And some who, you know, have wavered, and they, you know, they're just like, you know, they're just, you know, they're not doing as well. So I'm actually really impressed, but you know, like what people are coming up with, but you know, how creative people are right now. I think that, yeah, we could push it a little further. I've always considered myself an introverted extrovert. So as much as I wasn't looking for a break from like people this bad, like I'm not that bothered by it. You know, I like my time. I'm comfortable with myself. Like I don't hate like spending quality time with me. But I know a lot of people, they don't do so well with that.
Right. I just miss going to places. That's what I miss going to places. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's because I'm a bitch who can't drive, and I'm like,
We're gonna be able to go to
stuck in my
places
apartment.
soon, but I feel like, and I do, I just think when we go back, it just won't be the same ever, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about all kinds of places I want to go. I keep getting ideas and, you know, just different things coming up. But I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm trying to keep my people safe and myself safe. And, you know, that's just not going to happen for a little bit.
I think what this reminded me of, though, like it dialed into the moment in a way that I actually found very amusing. Like when they talk about their quarantine haircuts, you know, or that when she was like, man, you know what's fucked up is that you have to cover a cough with a fart and not the other way around. Because she was like, no, that was just a regular cough. You're like, oh, this is, you can't.
All the dialogue was hilarious.
It was good. Yeah. It was.
They were all real people, and they were all playing themselves. Everybody's name is their real names in the whatever. And yeah, I believed the beef between, I think it was Haley or one of them. No, it wasn't Haley. It was
Gemma.
I see. Oh, it was Haley. Haley and Gemma. Oh, and Gemma. I know a few Gemmas. Oh Lord. I'm kind of a Gemma a little bit, but and
you are a little bit of a shit starter. You are a little bit.
But I'm also kind of a Haley too. I'm a paradox, so it's not fun.
What I liked about it was when they were talked about when the medium came in and she was like, you know, I've never really done this virtually. I have to tell you, you're going to be more vulnerable because we can't touch each other. And that hit me different when she was like, you know, usually we'd be in the circle and be holding hands. And I was like, it hits different in the quarantine.
It seemed like they had been living this life for quite a while and they were more adjusted to it. Also, when Gemma comes, one of the things I really liked also was Gemma broke character, or not even character really, but she goes to find Haley, and then when they see each other and they tap elbows.
Did you see her with her mask on too?
Yeah. I just thought that shit was funny.
But Gemma's got a lot to be guilty about, because the thing is, homegirl medium came in and was like, just respect the space. And Gemma came up with a whole other story. It turned out she was faking, and the lady was like, I don't really know what to do with you now.
She got Emma killed, little cute Baby Spice looking Emma. Oh, and Emma isn't Baby Spice, isn't her real name Emma?
Emma Bunton, yep.
Oh shit! And she had little Baby Spice ponytails. That's not a coincidence. I was singing that the whole time. And I just put that together. So stupid. Overall, I mean, and then homeboy, I like that there was just this random homeboy that was like part of their crew, Teddy or whatever, and his asshole girlfriend who almost saved him. She almost saved him by being an asshole and like, no, hang out with me. Don't hang out with your other friends.
Like, if he didn't pull the chat back up, he would have been okay. But he would have been okay. Teddy got him and his asshole girlfriend taken out.
Oh, she got taken out, and that was the dopest kill. That was so cool. I don't know how they did that kind of, like, her neck and then it was awesome.
Well, here's the thing, that all of these actors had to pull off they all had to operate their own cameras. They pulled off their own practical effects. They had to do their own lighting, and the dude directed them remotely. So I think that's an accomplishment. And
that's amazing.
The director and co-writer Rob Savage said that it was a product of him and his friends being out of work. And you know, it had all of these, also the subplot of that one lady, Redinda, whatever her name was, and she had moved in with her boyfriend. Yeah, she had moved in with her boyfriend too soon. And I know a lot of people who are going through that right now, where they just like, because
they
everyone
thought
was
they needed
scared,
a little boo during quarantine, and now they're like, I will murder this person.
yeah, you need to be in the other room at all times, which I
Mhm.
understood that. Let's see what else. I thought that there was an interesting the thing about when that one lady made her own Zoom background, her custom Zoom background, that was like her going back and forth
That
between
was
the
cool.
bathroom, and then
That was
she gets
cool.
taken out,
Yeah,
and then it just reverts to her Zoom background,
that was
and then at a certain
Caroline
point
who
you
did
see her
that.
head hit the camera.
Yeah, Caroline. That was that. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
that
oh
was
no.
fucking dope.
Hello, Dre. I think your sound went out.
Hello, hello. What?
All right, I'll retract that last part. One of the things that I really liked, just a note on practical effects, was when Homegirl made her Zoom background, a video of her going back and forth between the restroom and then her bedroom, because when she gets taken out, that becomes her screen, and so everyone is still scared, crying, snot bubble, etc. And then it's just her
Teddy
Zoom
jumps
background.
on and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" with this stupid fucking puppet. That shit was funny. Ooh, and then Teddy with that music box that ends up killing him, and him slowly, like, his death was cool too. There was a lot of cool deaths.
Yeah.
I also saw somebody in the cast who's named just Legs, because there's a pair of legs you see, and then and there was another person named like whatever, and then just like the ghost faced or whatever. But I thought Legs was funny though.
Yeah, that was good. Also, the drinking game. Anytime they said astral plane, I was
Would you
like,
be
man,
blackout drunk?
yeah. So I'm talking about Host 2020 Shudder. Get that that subscription, whatever you call it, and watch the Host, because that shit's
Get
good.
your fix. Get
Yeah.
that fix. Yeah.
It's only an hour, so there's no excuse.
Less than an hour. Shit. Okay. Next up, we're getting into episode 2 of Lovecraft Country.
Whitey's on the moon.
Bitchcraft Country. I that's all over. There's like a hashtag of that on Instagram, Bitchcraft. I thought that was just like petty and funny. Since he's a racist.
Like an Aryan
That's
foot
the way to
soldier.
start. This episode's called Whitey on the Moon, which I noticed immediately because my daddy got me into Gil Scott Heron at a young age. So I was like, okay, we're already doing very well here. Overall, I'd say this episode, also, I will say that for those who don't know about Whitey on the Moon, let me just give you a little background. It was on his debut album, Small Talk at 125th and Lenox, and it talks about medical debt and poverty experienced during the Apollo moon landings, resources spent on the space program while Black and Brown Americans were experiencing marginalization. And it's just, and Gil, just do some research on Mr. Heron, because
it's just like the allocation of financial resources, that something so lofty as going to the moon is possible, but
you can't figure out what's happening on this motherfucking planet, and they still doing this shit. Like, if you're gonna just SpaceX, like, please take all these Trump voting motherfuckers right to Mars, like, by all means. But yeah, this episode it was a lot. Too much.
Stressed me out. It stressed me out. It stressed me out. I do feel like after the first two, and I was like, oh, this is episode 2, because I feel like I've been watching this forever. I felt like the first 2 episodes, I mean, I felt like I already saw a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wait, by the second episode though, I was like, is this the end of the show? Like,
I know.
It just felt like like, I'm like, how many episodes are left in this? But there's 10. There's supposed to be 10 episodes. And I was like, damn, this is gonna be a lot.
Because I thought that's what the whole show was gonna be about. And it's like, oh no, so you resolved that part.
There was a cow giving birth to a demon spawn. There was like it wasn't the Ku Klux Klan, because homegirl said, oh, they're too poor. We would never associate with them. I'm like, oh, bitch.
There was like visions.
You're
Each
a
one of
rare
them.
kind of racist.
Yeah, no, they're rich white racists, so you
Ooh.
know they're wizards and shit. But like, then
Eyes
there's you
wide
got like
shut
these
racist.
vision, these all these people having like Letty and George and Tick all having these like their own separate little thing. What was fucked up about it is like they're having these visions, right, and going through pain and emotional distress, and then there's just like this room full of eyes wide shut white people like
Purge anarchy all over again. And
consuming
that
black pain as
showing that,
entertainment.
yeah, that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
That's what they're showing. Some version of that, some kind of, spectacle we've been made to be. Letty, well, okay. The opening sequence was hilarious. Just the moving on up and Courtney.
Because like they're feeling the fantasy. You know what I'm talking about? Like they are unbothered. They're just like whatever. And then you see Tick just still remembering everything that happened the night before.
Man, this ain't normal. I'm up in these white people's house and they treat me good, like too good. There's nothing on the level about this.
Letty and George are comfortable. And he has to remind them, like, don't you think it's weird that you have a closet full of dresses in your exact size? And don't you think it's weird that you have your favorite books, first editions on that shelf right now? You don't think that's weird? How can you eat after what happened last night? And then Letty and George are like,
they don't know. Like,
they
what?
forget. They don't know.
Talking about?
They're under a spell.
And it was that whistle. Something about that damn whistle that homegirl keeps blowing. Every time, as soon as that whistle goes, they're like, wait, what the fuck happened? Why am I covered in dirt? Why did this happen? What, I rewatched the show. I didn't get to rewatch this at the second time the whole way through. I got like 40 minutes into it. So I didn't get it up to the seance part again. But I know, when it turns, left for the grand wizards or whatever. And then there's a woman who guides Tick to safety, and helps,
which is
him
presumably his ancestor Hannah, who had senior Brathwaite's kid back in the day, and it's like the Brathwaite fortune is built on shipping, which is like shorthand for the slave trade. Lil Aryan foot soldier looking dude from the jump was creepy as hell. Every time he looked at Journey, I was like, you need to keep your eyes to your motherfucking self, sir. Like,
and he's also the one that left that book out, presumably, that Courtney found, because he kind of was like, ooh, that was my good work, But it's what
do you think about Lil Aryan foot soldier and Christina? Because I have this feeling that Christina put Tony Goldwyn on to Tick and Montrose, knowing, this is my theory, knowing that Tick's ancestor, once he opened up that gate, was going to turn all of them into Sandman.
Yeah. She had to have known that all the whole way. I mean, she's smarter than all of them. And she knows that, like she knows she's very smart. And also that bitch breached a freaking cow birth to bring a demon spawn into this world.
A new one of them damn blobby zombies.
They took a break from the storyline to show that, and I was just like, yo, where are y'all taking me? What
do you think about her?
I mean, I don't like her, but at all. I want to punch her in the face. But
but she's not altogether unhelpful.
No. She's very frustrating though right now. I don't know what to make of her, and that's frustrating. So that's why I make such garish remarks. She's doing her job, her character is, as soon as she stepped out of that car in the first episode, I was like, this bitch is gonna be a mess. So she's gonna have a lot to add to the story, and then she's gonna be out of the story. Because she's she can't stick around.
Can we talk about Tick for a second? Because Tick is reckless. And he's bold as hell, and we get a butt shot.
Yeah, we getting the hell out of here. This is a spell.
Or when he just runs up to that lady with the dogs, and I was like, I mean, she could just let them go at any time. I was like,
Journey's the same though too. Journey, well, partially because Journey forgot, but even after Journey remembered, she's out there taking pictures of white people in their channel. That was hilarious. I'm like, what the fuck? All up in their face. All of them are bold as fuck. All of them, honestly.
I did really get when Journey got to brain homegirl. on the stairs. That was really satisfying to me.
That lady was an asshole. And they knew that, that homeboy, that Montrose was up in there. And so so unfortunately, by the end of the episode, if you haven't seen, but I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've watched it, but Courtney's taken, Uncle George is taken away from us. Doesn't mean he can't come back. Does not mean he can't come back. This story, there are no rules.
When they went and shot Letty, I was ready to stop watching. I was like, no, you will not put this woman on the damn poster and then take her out episode 2. This isn't
I told my parents, I said, I'm going to have a whole lot to say on the podcast tomorrow if they kill her off.
This ain't Jason Bateman in The Outsider. You can kill him episode 1, but you can't kill Journey Smollett on episode 2. I'm not going to continue watching the show. I'm sorry. It's a wrap for me for this show. Also, Tick got a snake dick. That was fucked up. Because I thought they were about to show us maybe some peen.
No, of course not. That's the world of HBO is not ready for that. We're ready, but the masses of HBO, they ain't ready for no black peen.
What did you think about? Oh, well, they did it on The Watchmen.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, you got a little bit there.
No, but it was also like an outline, right? It was just like was it blue or was it black?
It was blue.
So that don't count.
Blue dicks matter. What did you think of the delusions that they were having? Because we kind of get a confirmation that George and Tick's mom had a thing going on, and maybe George is actually Tick's dad and not Montrose.
Yeah, and then George and Montrose, they have a discussion about it. Montrose gets upset again, like, don't you bring that shit up. Which it makes beyond sense that would be that Uncle George is Tick's father. Like that's probably what the whole case is.
Yeah, that's just some drama for your mama. And then we get also Tick fighting with homegirl. What's her name?
His former lover, something's going on there. But she was also homegirl that came from the spaceship in his dream, and
presumably the one he talked to on the phone in the pilot. And that fight was vicious. Because he straight up choked the shit out of her.
She stabbed him in the shoulder. Yeah, he choked the bitch. It was a lot.
And also, it was like
all the while everybody's watching them go down.
I was kind of sad
she's getting potentially raped by Tick, Journey's character.
Right. I was here for it before I knew it was a fantasy, when she was just talking about like, why she remembered that particular Bible verse and how like her mom like left her, forgot about her all the time, came home with strange men, and he was like, I'll never leave you. And I was like,
it was mean when you realized it was all a charm. That was so mean. And they were all watching her confess herself, and then it turns into that. That was
that hurt my feelings. And I'm not even Journey. But like also when he said I'll never leave you, I was putting myself in her position, and I was like, never leave me, Tick. Yeah, that went strange really quick. Cause the thing is like then Tick is being a little bit too forward, and he like takes off his shirt all of a sudden, which listen, I didn't hate. I like seeing him nips, Tick's nips. but then he goes like, then he gets a little rough and goes a little bit too far, and then it's like, what's going on? Then he has a snake dick, and can't fuck with a snake dick. I'm sorry, I can't fuck.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, jigs up. Dick's out.
I liked his ancestor Hannah kind of having the final say, and kind of leading him to safety and turning them all into statues or whatever. But like now, where do we go from here? Because we just wrapped up. We wrapped up the first essential. What do you call it? The event, the inciting event, as they say, which was like, Tick trying to go get Macho. So he got him. So now what happens?
I don't know where the fuck this episode. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm gonna cheat. And I'm gonna listen to the audiobook.
Oh, so you're gonna skip the line, huh?
Yeah.
Because
I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna go a little bit ahead. And then I won't tell you anything if I can help it. But,
That's really surprising to me because you are the most anti-spoiler person I know.
I know. I just really want to know all about it. You know, I've held off, and I've been this way for years now. I've realized, like, I always want to be a part of the fantasy and be as much engrossed in it as much as possible. So it's like, I just want things to come to me organically, but all the text is out there. It's meant to be read. You know, this show's coming out. I want to analyze it and see and compare it and whatever. It's engaging and also something to distract me from shit.
And the performances, though, what I gotta say is what the book, it probably won't give you is the performances we got in this. Like when they finally find Montrose, you know, after he did his little Count of Monte Cristo and got out of that, you know, that dungeon basement, whatever it was, and they finally find him. And Tick is like, I'm here for you. And the way that Montrose acts toward him, you see in that man's face, like all of the enthusiasm drain out of it. And he's like, he like kind of his posture is kind of like a little boy who just got scolded. And you see in that moment that sometimes relationships just have such well-worn grooves that it's impossible to get out of it. I mean, it's like, I think of better things. You know, where it's like, especially with Pamela Adlon and her mother, it's like they just have this dynamic that they can't get out of, no matter. And it's like you're so triggered by that person, it makes you not want to try anymore. And the only time that Tick can actually muster enthusiasm for his father is when he's not in front of his father. Because as soon as he's confronted by that man, their dynamic goes back to its old self. And that's just family. You know, like that is like, unfortunately, with some family members, you know, like you can't, it's just, it's so hard. And it's like inexplicable how impossible it is to change for someone when you're in front of them and you're just getting into your old fights and your old grooves, you know?
Yeah. And another reason why I was just like, why can't we have both Michael K. Williams and Courtney B. Vance at the same time? Why does one have to exit and the other one enters? I'm happy that Michael K. came in because I was elated when his character showed up on screen and climbed up out of that hole. But that shit was hilarious. But and then he was ungrateful as fuck.
They're like, dude, we're here for you. We have a getaway car. All they wanted to do was argue.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's like, just get your ass in the car.
This is life or death. Letty had to be the one to tell them once again, get your ass in the motherfucking car. Like,
yeah. I'm here for the ride. I hope they don't like give me too much whiplash, but in this show, and I said it, and you said it too, you know, every episode requires more than one viewing. At least two. I honestly think you got to watch each episode like 3, 4, 5 times to get every little nuance and little thing they do. I watched the first episode 4 times.
Because what you said before about Aryan Foot Soldier passing that book on to George, I didn't catch that. But now it makes sense with him and Christina, whatever her name is, like they're in cahoots to take over this fortune. Now we see in the next episode, which it looks like it's about to stress me out too, is like Letty gets a house and then they've got burning crosses on that shit and like the
I didn't watch the
preview. The preview.
I need to.
We're about to be in it.
It's hard to watch the previews. See, that's the one thing I can't do. But I you know, once I get into the book, then I can watch the previews. So at least I'll like know, I'll have confirmation. Now, knowing that I'll have confirmation sort of for what the show is leading towards, I can watch those previews and then be like, okay, I can assume that this is it's going in this direction. But there are a lot of shows you can't do this with. So, you know, it's a rare occasion.
Oh. Hello, kitties. Our Scream Queen of the week is Jennifer Hudson, third time's a charm, as Catherine Dean in The Cell, which I believe is like 20 years old this year.
Yeah, it just hit its 20th anniversary like last week.
J-Lo looks as good as ever. You can still bounce a quarter off of that face, that ass, that everything. So the film follows scientists as they use experimental technology to enter the mind of a comatose serial killer in order to locate where he's hidden his latest kidnapped victim. Think Silence of the Lambs meets What Dreams May Come, kind of. I rewatched it recently. I mean, I saw it way back when. I probably saw it again in 2010, and I saw it this year. So I see it every 10 years, basically. And I'm kind of about it. Like, there is some costume shit going on that I'm like, you know, when she's in his mind and Devilman comes out and he got all that purple curtains tied to his back, and as he walks toward it like follows him.
Those are the images that stuck in my head. Yeah. And that's Aiko Ishioka, and she also did Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola.
Which on more iconic costume, and that makes so much sense because you think about like the Dracula warrior costume, and then the same costumes that they use as they're going into the dream world, you know, when they're floated up top and it's got like that kind of ridged breastplate and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It looks a lot like those. So like, I like that it has a similar visual style. And I forgot about the implication that Vincent D'Onofrio's character is potentially gay, because he's like playing with dolls and like he's ironing things and his dad calls him a faggot and like takes that iron and puts it to his chest. And, you know, that struck me different this time around, especially in light of like the Shudder documentary. But, and he, you know, I don't think he ever has sex with his victims either. He just like dresses them up as dolls.
It's near them. Yeah. He doesn't want like actual physical interaction beyond violence, it seems.
And he kind of hovers over them with those hooks that he has.
He literally hovers over them. I have not seen this film since it came out in the theater, I don't think, like not really. And I didn't, it left a bad taste in my mouth back then. And it just made me feel really uncomfortable. And I was reading up on it a little bit, and you know, it was just people, first of all, they said it was like a Silence of the Lambs ripoff, because you know, that's the easiest thing to compare it to. And then they said it was just it was very misogynistic, and it is really misogynistic. I really don't think they did enough work on J-Lo's character at all. Like,
well, like that's like the biggest eye roll for me in this whole film was like Vince Vaughn suiting up to save the day. And it's like, the fuck kind of knowledge you have walking into this that you think you can navigate this world better than Jenny from the block.
She don't need you.
And then he has to come in and save her and like remind her all this shit. And it's just like, man, like, can we just not have a paternalistic savior figure come in and like save the day? But, you know, she goes the extra mile, because once Vince Vaughn gets the information that he needs, he's out. He's like, deuces, I'm done. I'm gonna go find this lady in a bunker or whatever. And J-Lo kind of takes the time to go back into Vincent D'Onofrio's mind to try to save his childhood self. She works harder than anybody else. Like, she has the kind of vigilance and personal fortitude and like moral center to actually give a shit about this child.
I don't know why she has that. And unfortunately, it's not just her acting, because she wasn't, I don't buy this girl from the Bronx playing sheepish. Okay. I don't buy it. She can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. You're just not meant to do those kind of roles. She's a good actress, but she's not that. And she was trying to play, I'm sure that role was written for a white girl. Like, I'm positive of it. And they weren't. And so she came in there and like, they just gave you no backstory on this person. I don't know anything about her other than what their opinions of her were, you know? And I'm just like, it's not her fault that, you know, the world didn't go deeper. They put all the time into that serial killer, almost too much time.
And they put a lot of work into the visuals.
Oh, I mean, the visuals, and homeboy Tarsem, the director, he also did The Fall, which is amazing. And yeah, his mind is fucking dope. The writer, I'm a little skeptical on how much time they spent on the man's perspective and women like that. Fucking I seen this movie 20 years ago. I can't remember. I didn't even remember. I blocked out that scene of him with the hooks jerking off or whatever, and on top of a dead body over an autopsy. It's a lot while he's watching a woman die as he's drowning her. Like, and if you haven't seen this movie or you don't remember, like, my description probably sounds like a lot, but it's that. It's a lot. Yeah. It's really, it made me uncomfortable. I thought it was really well done, but it made me really uncomfortable.
Is this like sort of in the vein of something like Seven?
Yeah, I mean, it gets there, but it's like, what's that movie that Matt Dillon just did? I think it was a Lars von Trier film, and it's about like Jack built a house. something like that. And it's about, you're watching a serial killer as he like goes on his escapades and kills women and all this stuff. It's a lot. I mean, and it reminds me of that. But that movie was made recently, you know, and there's, you know, growth and time, and people have evolved to a certain degree, and there was, you know, artistic integrity there. But the writing on this is very suspect to me. I just don't know what to say. It really disturbed me.
Didn't really look like they did enough script development, but
I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio is amazing. And you know, that's what's going on with me. He was too convincing as that character.
I thought that too. Cause like he doesn't like, I think of the people like the roles that he's chosen, and it's like last time when you were like, man, some of these actors in this Lovecraft Country look like they're a little bit too happy to say the N-word. Like, you know, like it looks like he's doing a little bit too good.
Yeah, like that in the garage. I'm like, first of all, bitch, why you have your car parked in this? Why you at a parking garage? Only girl, like blonde girl down there by yourself. Like, just so stupid. And then she thinks she hit a dog, and just the way they made her look dumb, and then him just take her over like that. That was so like, ooh, it was creepy as fuck.
Or when he's in the dream thing and he has the dead lady in the bathtub, and it's like the next scene after J-Lo has seen him like get beat down as a child, and then he sees him over the bathtub, and I was just like, that's the moment where I was like, I think he does this a little too good. Like, I wouldn't want to be in a room alone with this person.
Oh, I mean, and then I forget my mother, Nita, Criminal Intent all day, and he was on that, and he was the weird motherfucker. Like, he would get into people's heads, and I forgot he just does that. He's been doing that. He's been off on that tangent for a minute. It's not new. I mean, hats off to you, Mr. D'Onofrio. Also, he was really good at Men in Black too.
As Edgar.
Yeah, as the cockroach, whatever. He was great.
Anyway, J-Lo in the cell, you know, you're a screen queen this week. You pulled off the outfits, and you know, you held it down when you needed to. So we got to give you that. We don't really believe that you don't play a white girl very well, but you do. You know, you can't take Jenny off the Bronx.
But they gave you the most bomb ass intro ever. That is the coolest fucking intro, in that white fucking feathered dope ass gown. Like, what a screen queen intro. I mean, give it for that.
Just for that frame alone. What up, queens? Don't forget, we got a Google Voice number, and we want to hear from you. What's the scaredest you've ever been in the theater? What happened? Paint us a picture, and you just might find yourself on the show. So give us a call at 619-289-9052.
Okay, so the most scared I've ever been in a movie. I'm going to remain anonymous for this. Lamau, as if Teebs would ever let this be anonymous. So the most scared I've ever been in a movie was in a theater, was in the movie Annihilation. And curiously enough, my scaredness had nothing to do with the movie itself, but had everything to do with the fact that I got way too fucking high before the movie. But there's an explanation, because the whole reason I was seeing the movie was because that I saw on Twitter somebody talking about how amazing the sound in the theater was, and how when you were high in the movie, like, it was just like, it took you to a whole nother level. It was like the music, the sound effects, like apparently the director, I think his name is Alex Garland, and whoever was responsible for the sound, like, really slayed. And so to truly enjoy it, according to this tweet, you had to be super high. I'm always high when I go to a movie theater, but because of this one reason with the sound and all that, I decided that I had to get super, super high. So I took probably maybe double the amount of weed brownie I would normally take. But I don't know. Let's just say that these were super strong, because all I remember happening was being in the theater. And I wasn't scared of the movie. I have no idea what happened in the movie, because in the theater, I was so high that I ended up having my first ever panic attack. And when you have never had a panic attack before, it feels kind of crazy. So like, you're breathing heavy, and like, I also was like super self-conscious because I was like in a packed movie theater, and it felt like I was like breathing super hard. Kenya, I was with my girlfriend. She was like rubbing my chest the whole time. She gave me a Xanax, thank God. And so I came down from the panic attack a little bit, but like not really in time to have any clue what happened in the movie. I still haven't seen Annihilation. I don't know whether it's good or not, because again, I don't remember anything that happened, but that was by far the scariest movie theater experience. Love you.
Ah, wasn't that hilarious? Catch us next week, same time, same place. Not sure what we're covering, but we'll let you know on the gram.
Scream Queen is produced by Alexandra De Palma and Domino Sound.
With theme music by Doc Allison.
I am still Drea Washington. You can find me on the gram at Hey Girl Hey. That's HEYGRLHEY.
Let me say, you haven't lived until you've had to explain to your mother what WAP means, because she has to text you on a band, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I am Tommy Teebs. Biko, you can find me at Hey Teebs, HEYTEEBS, on all relevant social media. I mean, actually, no, only on Instagram.
Yeah, what you lying ass bitch? You can find us on Instagram at Scream Queen Podcast.
And online at screeemqueenpodcast.com.
Send us some love notes at screeemqueen@gmail.com. That's SCREEEM queen@gmail.com.
In the scary movie of your life,
you better
scream, Queen. Okay, that's just extra.
What else is new?